Mr. Ashford is not a vegetable you can discuss over his head. Maya's voice cut through the rehabilitation center's common room like a blade. She positioned herself between the elderly man in the wheelchair and his three relatives, her frame somehow creating an impenetrable wall. The woman in Chanel, Richard Ashford's daughter-in-law, recoiled. "Excuse me. We're his family." "His nurse," Maya finished, eyes blazing. "Which means I'm advocating for his dignity." She crouched beside Richard, finding his trembling hand. His watery blue eyes met hers, desperate and grateful. "Please let me keep this job." But she couldn't stand here while they discussed nursing home costs like Richard was already dead. "We'll be speaking to your supervisor," the woman threatened. Maya's stomach dropped, but her spine stayed straight. "Mrs. Chen is in her office." She turned to Richard, softening. "Let's get you back to your room." As she wheeled him away, she caught his reflection, a single tear tracking down his weathered cheek. Dignity first, always, even if it costs everything. Adrian Ashford watched the security feed for the third time, unable to look away. "Mr. Ashford is not a vegetable you can discuss over his head." The words detonated in his chest. This nurse, Maya Torres, had defended his father while Adrian had been in back-to-back meetings. The way she crouched beside him, the gentleness when his father's hand reached for hers, like a drowning man reaching for shore. When did I last hold his hand? 3 years since the stroke. 3 years of delegating his father's care while building an empire that now felt hollow. He told himself distance was dignity, but watching this stranger cradle his father's dignity like something precious, risking her job without hesitation. "Sir?" His assistant's voice crackled through the intercom. "Cancel everything for the next month," Adrian said, "and get me clearance to volunteer at Riverside Rehabilitation Center." "You want to volunteer?" He froze the image of Maya Torres mid-stride, a warrior in scrubs who'd just shown him what real strength looked like. "I want to understand what it means to treat someone like treasure. Even if it meant going undercover. Even if it meant lying about who he was. Because if this woman is genuine, then I've been wrong about everything." 1 week later, Adrian pushed through Riverside's staff entrance, wearing faded jeans and a gray Henley. Adrian Marsh, his mother's maiden name, a tech worker between jobs. The lie tasted like copper. "You must be our new volunteer." The coordinator beamed. "I'm pairing you with Maya Torres. She's one of our best." They found Maya in the common room, coaxing an elderly man through exercises with fierce patience. "5 more, Mr. Patterson. I've seen you do 20 when your granddaughter visits." The old man chuckled. "You're a tyrant, Maya." "I'm your tyrant. 3 more." Adrian watched, transfixed. The intensity, the way she touched the patient's shoulder, steadying him. "This is who took care of my father when I couldn't." "Maya," the coordinator called. "Your new shadow, Adrian Marsh." Maya turned, and Adrian's prepared speech evaporated. Up close, she was devastating. Not conventionally beautiful, but alive in a way that made everyone else seem like they were sleepwalking. Exhaustion in her eyes spoke of double shifts and borrowed time. When she looked at him, Adrian felt seen for the first time in years. Oh, hell. Adrian Marsh was undeniably, frustratingly gorgeous, and Maya didn't have time for complications. "Maya Torres, welcome to Controlled Chaos." She extended her hand. His grip was warm, calloused in a way that surprised her. "Adrian, thanks for taking me on." She studied him, looking for tells. The entitled ones always had them. But Adrian looked at her like she was granting him something precious. Rule 1. Patients are people, not tasks. Learn their names, their stories, their dignity. Rule 2. Ask if you don't know something. Rule 3. We protect our patients from everything, including their families sometimes. Something flickered in his expression. Pain? Is that common? Families? He asked quietly. Maya thought of Richard Ashford, whose son had never visited. Common enough. Some people see illness as inconvenience. We see human beings. By the third day, Adrian was certain he was losing his mind. Not from the work, though humbling, but from her. Maya Torres was everywhere and everything. He watched her spend 20 minutes helping a woman with Parkinson's button her sweater. Watched her advocate for pain medication, armed with data and fury. And every evening, she spent extra time with his father. Tell me about Adrian, Maya said one evening, helping Richard with dinner. That graduation picture, he looks proud. His father made a sound between a grunt and a sigh. I bet you were proud too. Does he visit? The silence was answer enough. Sometimes life gets complicated, Maya said gently. I'm sure he thinks about you. She's making excuses for me. Adrian retreated, the knife between his ribs. He found her later in the supply room, counting inventory with grim focus. Need help? He asked. She glanced up, smiled tiredly. Counting diapers? Really want to spend your volunteer hours on this? I've had worse jobs. Doing what? Danger zone. Tech startups, built things, sold them. It was empty. Good at making money, terrible at making meaning. Maya studied him. Is that why you're here? Looking for meaning? Something like that. Why are you here? Working yourself into the ground? Her jaw tightened. I need the money. For what? My sister, UCLA neuroscience. Our mom died 2 years ago, left medical debt. She said it matter-of-factly. Lucia's brilliant. I just need to keep us afloat long enough for her to change the world. She's sacrificing everything. That's why you fought Vanessa Ashford, Adrian said before thinking. Her head snapped up. How do you know her name? Shit. Rita mentioned the incident. Those people discussed nursing homes while Richard sat right there, like furniture. Her eyes blazed. Every person here has earned dignity. In my care, they're mine to protect. And there it was, what he'd been searching for. She means every word. You're extraordinary, he said. Maya blinked, flushing. I'm really not. You are. He stepped closer. Most people talk about values. You live them, even when it costs you. It might cost me this job. The Ashford's lawyer called about my professionalism. Rage flooded him. Their what? Mrs. Chen has my back, probably. Her smile was fragile. I just can't lose this job, Adrian. He watched her fight tears, and something inside him shifted irreversibly. I have to tell her. But the words stuck. Because once he did, she'd either hate him for lying or start treating him differently. And he was desperate to stay in this space where Maya Torres looked at him like he was just Adrian. Would you spend time with Richard? Maya asked suddenly. He's declining emotionally. He needs someone to talk to him like he matters. She's asking me to connect with my own father. Yes, Adrian said. I can do that. Thank you. Her smile returned, and Adrian felt it like sunlight. Do not develop feelings for the volunteer. But Adrian was making it impossible. The way he sat with Richard for hours, reading newspapers, describing the world, learning Richard's limited sounds and gestures, responding with patience. You built a company from nothing? Adrian said one afternoon. That's incredible. Through gestures and Maya's interpretation, Richard's story emerged. A working-class kid from Pittsburgh who'd built an auto parts empire through grit and innovation. Maya watched Adrian's face. Pain, admiration, something like grief. The man you were, the man you are, doesn't change because your body changed, Adrian said, voice rough. Richard's hand shot out, gripping Adrian's wrist. His eyes were wet. What is happening here? Okay, gentlemen, Maya said thickly. Enough emotion, or we'll have the whole wing crying. In the hallway, Adrian looked shaken. He's remarkable. He is. And you're good with him. She studied him. You sure you're just an unemployed tech guy? Just someone who knows what it's like to lose yourself in work. He looked at her. You never do that. You always know what matters. I'm not noble. I'm exhausted and broke, and half the time I want to run away. But you don't. No, because Lucia needs me, and I'm too stubborn to quit. Let me take you to dinner, Adrian said suddenly. What? Tonight. You deserve one evening where someone takes care of you. Don't say yes. Okay, she said. The Thai restaurant was tiny, perfect, and they laughed over spring rolls while arguing about mango sticky rice. You have to eat them together, Adrian insisted. Sequential appreciation, Maya countered, stealing his mango. His unguarded laugh made something dangerous bloom in her chest. If money weren't an obstacle, Adrian said, what would you choose? Finish my degree, PA program, work in geriatric care with more tools to help. She laughed, embarrassed. Boring, right? Not even close. His hand covered hers. You know what I'd choose? This. Knowing I'm doing something that matters, working with people like you. Kiss me. Or don't. Because everything changes if you do. What are we doing? She whispered. I don't know. But I don't want it to stop. At her building, Maya flushed. Want to come up? For coffee? Just beverages. Her apartment was aggressively clean, minimally furnished. Lucia's acceptance letter on the fridge. Medical textbooks stacked by the futon. Bills marked in red on a calendar. It's not much, Maya said. Adrian thought of his empty penthouse. It's perfect. It's you. Suddenly the space felt charged, electric. Tell me if this is a bad idea, he said, crossing to her. It's terrible, she whispered. We work together. I don't even know you. You're hiding something. I am, and I'll tell you everything. But right now, she pulled him down, and the world ignited. Adrian kissed like he meant it, like she was precious, like this mattered. They collapsed onto the futon, a tangle of want. His weight settled over her, perfect and overwhelming. His hand slid under her shirt. Not like this. Wait, she gasped. Adrian, wait. He froze, pulling back. Too much? I don't do this. I want so much it scares me. But I can't just... You're right. He sat up, running a hand through mussed hair. I'm sorry. I need time to understand what this is. What if we made a deal? Adrian said. We take this slowly, get to know each other. Because Maya, I'm falling for you, hard and fast. And I want to do this right. You're falling for me? Hopelessly. We've known each other 3 weeks. I know. But you make me want to be better. He pressed her hand to his racing heart. And I'm terrified I'll mess this up. I'm terrified too. What if you're not who I think you are? Then I'll tell you the truth before you fall, he promised. No more secrets. Not when it matters. She should demand those secrets now. But she made a choice. Okay, we take it slow. And when you're ready, I'll listen. When I tell you, you're going to be angry. Will I have cause? Yes and no. I'm not a bad person, but I've made mistakes. Then we'll fix them together. He pulled her close, chastely now, just his arms around her, listening to his heartbeat. This is going to hurt when it ends. But for now, she let herself be held. 2 weeks passed in a blur of shared shifts, stolen moments, and Adrian becoming woven into the fabric of Maya's life. He was there for her morning coffee runs, there when she needed help lifting patients, there in the quiet moments when exhaustion made her walls crumble, and always with Richard. "Tell me about your son," Adrian said one evening, his voice careful. Maya was checking Richard's blood pressure, but she could hear the tension underneath. What was he like as a kid? Richard's face transformed, pride and pain mixing together. He gestured, made sounds that Maya had learned to interpret. "Brilliant," she translated. "Driven, always building things." Richard's expression darkened. But after his mother died, he changed, got harder, more distant. Adrian's jaw clenched. Maybe he was scared. Maybe he thought succeeding was the only way to honor her. Richard shook his head, frustrated, made another gesture. "He thinks his son forgot where he came from," Maya said quietly. "Forgot that love matters more than empire." "What if—" Adrian's voice cracked. "What if his son didn't forget? What if he just didn't know how to come back? What if he was so ashamed of abandoning you, him, that the guilt kept him away?" The slip hung in the air. Maya's hand stilled on the blood pressure cuff. Richard stared at Adrian with sudden, piercing clarity. "Adrian," Maya said slowly, "why are you really here?" He looked at her, and she saw it all crumble. The careful walls, the volunteer facade, everything. "I need to tell you something. Both of you. You're his son." Richard's eyes were wet, his good hand reaching out. "I'm his son," Adrian whispered. "And I'm so sorry, Dad. I'm so goddamn sorry." Richard pulled Adrian down, the embrace clumsy and fierce. Adrian broke, 3 years of guilt pouring out in wrenching sobs against his father's shoulder. Maya stepped back, her world tilting violently. He lied. He's been lying this entire time. "Maya." Adrian looked up, eyes red. "Please let me explain. You're him." Her voice sounded strange in her own ears. "You're the son I defended you to. The one I made excuses for while you watched me do it. I know, and I... Get out." She was shaking. "Finish your time with your father, then get out." She fled before he could see her cry. In the supply room, Maya pressed her palms against the cold metal shelves and tried to breathe. He's Adrian Ashford, the billionaire, the son who abandoned Richard. Every moment replayed with sickening clarity. The way he'd asked about Richard, the 2 specific questions, the grief in his eyes when Richard told his story. He used me, used my care for his father too. What? Spy? Assuage his guilt? The door opened. "Adrian." I said, "Get out." "I know, but you deserve the truth. All of it." He stayed by the door, giving her space. "I saw the security footage. You defending my father from Vanessa. And I needed to know if you were real. If someone could actually care about him that way, without agenda or obligation." "So you lied?" "Yes. You let me tell you about your own father. Let me make excuses for you abandoning him." "Yes." His voice broke, and every word was a knife. "Maya, I was a coward. I built my company because it was easier than watching my father age. Easier than being vulnerable. And then the stroke happened, and I couldn't face what I'd done. So you came here in disguise? That's your solution? More lying?" "I came here to understand, to learn how to be the son he deserves. And I found you." He took a step closer. "You taught me what love actually looks like. Not grand gestures or money, just showing up, being present, choosing dignity over convenience every single time." Maya's throat burned. "You should have told me. I know. I was going to 100 times. But I was terrified you'd look at me differently, that you'd stop seeing me as just Adrian, His laugh was bitter. Turns out that I was right. Because this Adrian doesn't exist. She gestured at him. The volunteer, the humble guy between jobs, that was a character. Who are you really? I'm both. I'm the billionaire who built an empire and lost his soul doing it. And I'm the man who fell in love with a nurse who showed him what actually matters. He met her eyes. I'm the son trying to fix 3 years of cowardice. And I'm the person desperately in love with you, Maya. That part was never a lie. The words hit her like a tidal wave. Love. You don't get to say that, she whispered. Not after lying to me for a month. I know, but it's true anyway. She wanted to scream at him, wanted to rage against the deception, the manipulation of her feelings. But underneath the fury was something worse. The devastating realization that she'd fallen for him too. Both versions of him. The gentle volunteer and the broken son, and even this. The billionaire standing in a supply room, looking at her like she was his last chance at redemption. I need time, she said finally. To think. To figure out what's real and what was performance. Everything between us was real. I swear it. You swore a lot of things, Adrian. Or should I call you Mr. Ashford now? The formality landed like a slap. He flinched. Whatever you need. Time, space, answers. It's yours. But Maya, please don't quit. Don't let my mistakes cost you this job you love. The job where I'm caring for your father? Where every day I'll see you and remember how stupid I was? You weren't stupid. I was dishonest. There's a difference. He backed toward the door. For what it's worth, these past weeks have been the most honest of my life. Everything I felt, everything I said about you, that was real. He left, and Maya slid down to sit on the cold floor, surrounded by medical supplies and shattered trust. 3 days of careful avoidance followed. Adrian came for his scheduled time with Richard, now openly as his son. But Maya made sure she was never alone with him. Then the envelope appeared at the nurse's station. Special delivery for Maya Torres, Rita said, handing it over with curious eyes. Inside, an acceptance letter to a physician assistant program, full scholarship, and a handwritten note in Adrian's sharp script. You said your dream died with your mother's diagnosis. I can't undo the lies, but I can help resurrect your truth. The scholarship is anonymous. Your name, your merit. All I did was make sure the right people saw your application and transcript. The choice is entirely yours. You've spent 2 years fighting for everyone else's dignity. Let someone fight for yours. Amaya's hands shook. Attached was a second document. A full-ride scholarship fund for students with medical debt established in her mother's name. The amount made her dizzy. He's trying to buy my forgiveness. But was he? The scholarship was merit-based, verifiable. He hadn't paid her way in. He'd just opened a door she'd thought permanently closed. And the fund would help hundreds of students like her, long after this mess resolved itself. Maya? Rita peered at her. You okay? You look like you've seen a ghost. I need to take my break. She found Adrian in Richard's room, reading the newspaper aloud. Both men looked up when she entered. Can we talk? Her voice was steady. Privately. Adrian stood immediately. They walked to the courtyard, the spring air sharp and clear. This scholarship, Maya said without preamble. Tell me exactly what you did. I called the program director. Told them about an exceptional candidate whose application might have been overlooked due to her 2-year gap. I asked them to review your transcripts, your letters of recommendation, your work history. That's it. The decision was theirs, based on your qualifications. And the fund? A nonprofit I established 3 days ago. I've endowed it with $50 million. It'll run in perpetuity, helping students whose dreams got derailed by medical debt. He met her eyes. You showed me that dignity isn't about grand gestures. It's about seeing people's worth and removing the obstacles in their way. I can't fix what I did to you or my father, but I can help make sure others don't have to sacrifice their futures to care for the people they love. Maya's anger warred with reluctant awe. You're trying to prove you've changed. I'm trying to actually change. There's a difference. The fund exists whether you forgive me or not. Whether you accept the scholarship or not, this isn't about us. It's about doing what you would do if you had my resources. You don't know what I would do, don't I? Maya, I've watched you for 6 weeks. You'd fund every student's education. You'd pay off every family's medical debt. You'd burn yourself out trying to save everyone because that's who you are. His voice softened. Someone needs to save you too. I don't need saving. No. You need support, partnership, someone who sees your strength and wants to help carry the weight, not because you can't, but because you shouldn't have to. Not alone. The words cracked something open in her chest. I'm still angry at you. Good, you should be. I don't know if I can trust you again. Then let me earn it back, however long it takes. He stepped closer, cautious. I love you, Maya. I'm in love with your strength and your compassion and the way you fight for dignity like it's oxygen. I love that you called me out when I deserved it. I love that you're standing here angry instead of making this easy for me. Adrian, I know I don't deserve another chance, but I'm asking anyway. Let me prove that the man you fell for is who I really am. Let me show up every day until you believe it. Maya looked at him. Really looked. The expensive haircut, the designer clothes he'd returned to wearing, the posture of someone used to boardrooms. But underneath, she saw the man who'd sat with his father for hours, who'd learned patience and presence, who'd cried while apologizing for 3 years of absence. The scholarship, she said finally. I'll consider it. The fund is good work. Keep doing it. But us? She took a breath. I need to see who you are in your real life, Adrian. Not the volunteer, not the disguise. If you want a chance, you show me the billionaire who's trying to be better. Hope flickered in his eyes. Yeah? Yeah. But one more lie, one more manipulation, and I'm done. Clear? Crystal. And you keep showing up for your father, not as penance, as his son. I promise. She nodded, something unwinding in her chest. Okay then. Okay. We start over. Hi, I'm Maya Torres. I'm a nurse who's probably going to PA school. A slow smile transformed his face. He extended his hand. Adrian Ashford. I'm a tech CEO trying to figure out what success actually means. Would you like to have dinner sometime? Somewhere honest, where I pay with my real credit card and we talk about real things? She took his hand. That depends. Are you going to try to impress me with expensive restaurants? Would you be impressed? Not even a little. Then no. Thai food and honest conversation. Maya felt herself smile despite everything. It's a start. A few weeks later, everything imploded. It started with Vanessa Ashford showing up at Riverside with a lawyer and documents demanding Richard be transferred to a more appropriate facility. More appropriate? Maya kept her voice level, but fury simmered underneath. He's making excellent progress here. He's a wealthy man who should be in a private facility befitting his station, Vanessa said coldly. Not this community center. This community center is where he's recovering, where he has relationships with staff who care about him. Relationships? Vanessa's smile was poison. You mean whatever scheme you've concocted with my brother-in-law? Yes, Maya. We know about your little romance with Adrian. How convenient that you befriended his father. The implication hit like a slap. I was caring for Richard before I knew Adrian existed. So you claim. But now you're dating a billionaire, attending fancy dinners, and suddenly there's talk of expensive PA programs? Vanessa leaned in. You're smarter than I thought. Target the vulnerable father to get to the wealthy son. That's not... Save it. We're transferring Richard tomorrow. And I'll be filing a formal complaint about your unprofessional conduct with the state board. Maya stood frozen as Vanessa swept out, the lawyer trailing behind. No, 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 no. She found Adrian in the parking lot, on his phone, and the rage that had been building erupted. Did you know? She demanded. Did you know Vanessa was planning this? He turned, confused. Planning what? Transferring your father, filing complaints against me, using our relationship as evidence that I manipulated him for access to you. Understanding dawned, followed by fury. She's doing what? She says I targeted Richard to get to your money, that I'm unprofessional, that I... Her voice broke. Adrian, she's going to ruin me. My license, my career, everything I've built. She won't. I'll stop this. How? By throwing money at it. That'll just prove her point. Then There's nothing you can do. The words tore out of her. Don't you see? This is what happens when people like me get involved with people like you. Your world eats mine alive. Maya, that's not... It is. I was stupid to think this could work, that I could date a billionaire and not have it destroy my life. You're a liability I can't afford. He stepped back like she'd struck him. You don't mean that. But she did. Or she needed to. Because standing here, watching her carefully constructed life crumble because she'd fallen for the wrong man, Maya felt the old survival instincts kick in. Protect yourself. Protect Lucia. Cut the dead weight. I do mean it, she said, each word a blade. This was a mistake. You were a mistake. I should have trusted my first instinct and kept you at arm's length. You're scared. I get it. But running. I'm not running. I'm choosing my career over a man I've known 8 weeks. That's called being smart. It's called being scared, Adrian countered. And I don't blame you. Vanessa's a viper and she's weaponizing our relationship. But Maya, we can fight this together. There is no together. There's you in your penthouse with your lawyers and your billions, and there's me trying not to lose my license over falling for the wrong person. She backed away. I can't do this. I can't risk everything for what? For love? For partnership? For a fantasy? The admission felt like ripping off skin. Because that's what this is, Adrian. A fantasy where the billionaire and the nurse live happily ever after. But real life doesn't work like that. Your family will always see me as the help. Your world will always chew up people like me. So you're just going to give up? Walk away? I'm going to survive. That's what I do. She turned and walked away, leaving Adrian standing in the parking lot. Later, alone in her apartment, Maya let herself break. She cried for the future she'd glimpsed, PA school, partnership, love. She cried for Richard, who'd become precious to her. And she cried for Adrian, the man who'd shown her what it felt like to be treasured. But mostly she cried because she'd meant every word. Sometimes love wasn't enough. Sometimes survival mattered more. Her phone buzzed. A text from Adrian. I understand, but I'm not giving up on us or on you. She deleted it and turned off her phone. Maya didn't see Adrian for 5 days. She threw herself into work, avoiding Richard's room during visiting hours, and pretended the hollow ache in her chest was just exhaustion. Then Mrs. Chen called her into the office. Sit, her supervisor said, but she was smiling. The complaint against you has been withdrawn, completely. No investigation, no record, nothing. Maya's heart stopped. What? Vanessa Ashford called this morning, very apologetic. Said there was a family misunderstanding and she has no concerns about your professionalism. Mrs. Chen's eyes twinkled. She also made a substantial donation to our facility, enough to fund our expansion for the next 3 years. I don't understand. Neither did I, until Richard Ashford's son requested a meeting with our entire board. Apparently, he's been documenting your exceptional care for months. He presented video evidence, patient testimonials, outcome data, built a case for you being one of the best nurses in the state. She leaned forward. Maya, he went to war for you, against his own family, made it clear that any attack on you was an attack on him. The room spun. He did what? More than that. He's establishing a patient advocacy program here, funded entirely by his foundation. You'd run it if you want. It's a promotion, better pay, and it includes tuition coverage for any continuing education. Mrs. Chen handed her a folder, including PA school. Maya stared at the documents, vision blurring. He also left you a message, Mrs. Chen said gently. Said to tell you, this isn't about us. This is about making sure you never have to choose between love and survival again. You deserve both. Maya found him in the courtyard at sunset, sitting on a bench with his father. Richard was in his wheelchair, and they were just quiet together, peaceful. Her heart cracked at the sight. Maya. Richard's face lit up when he saw her. His speech had improved in recent weeks, single words now, sometimes short phrases. Missed you. Missed you too, Mr. Ashford. She crouched beside him, taking his hand. I hear there's been some excitement. Richard grinned, mischievous. My son is stubborn. I noticed. She looked up at Adrian, who was watching her with barely contained hope and fear. Can we talk? Always. Richard waved them away. Go. I'm tired of his moping. They walked to the far end of the courtyard, where early roses were blooming against the fence. You didn't have to do that, Maya said quietly. The complaint, the program, any of it. Yes, I did. Because Vanessa was right about one thing. My world can be toxic. But instead of accepting that or asking you to endure it, I needed to change it. Make it safer for you to exist in. He turned to face her fully. Maya, I was wrong. About everything. I thought I was protecting you by fixing things quietly, by using my power behind the scenes. But that's still just me deciding what's best for you without asking. Adrian, let me finish, please. He took a shaky breath. You were right to walk away. I brought chaos into your life. I let my family weaponize our relationship. I put you in an impossible position where you had to choose between your career and me. That's not love. That's selfishness dressed up as romance. So why the grand gesture? She gestured back toward the building. The advocacy program, the tuition coverage. Because those exist, whether you take me back or not. The program will help every patient here. The tuition coverage is available to all staff. I'm not trying to buy you, Maya. I'm trying to fix the system that made you choose. His voice dropped. You said people like you can't be with people like me because my world destroys yours. So I'm changing my world, making it one where you can thrive, not just survive. Tears burned her eyes. That's actually... If you say manipulative, I'll... Smart, she finished. Strategic. Exactly what I would do if I had your resources. She wiped her eyes. You listened. To what I actually said, not just what I was feeling. I'm trying to be the partner you deserve. The one who sees your strength and works alongside it, not despite it. He reached out slowly, giving her time to pull away. When she didn't, his hand cupped her face. I love you, Maya Torres. I love your fire and your compassion and the way you refuse to accept dignity as negotiable. I love that you walked away when I made you choose. And I'm asking, begging, for the chance to prove you'll never have to choose again. I love you too, she whispered. I've been miserable without you. But I was so scared, Adrian. Scared that loving you meant losing myself. I know. And I'm scared too. Scared I'll mess this up again. Scared my world will hurt you despite my best efforts. But Maya, I'd rather be scared with you than safe without you. She laughed, wet and shaky. That's either really romantic or really codependent. Can't it be both? She pulled him down, and this kiss was different from their first. Not desperate or uncertain, but sure. A promise made and accepted. When they broke apart, Adrian pressed his forehead to hers. I have something to ask you. If it's marriage, it's way too soon. He laughed. Not yet. But soon, if you'll have me. No, this is different. He pulled back, suddenly nervous. The advocacy program needs a director. Someone who understands patient care and dignity and how to fight bureaucracy. Someone fearless and brilliant and impossible to intimidate. You want me to run it? I want you to build it. Your vision, your rules. I provide resources and get out of your way. You'd still work here part-time, and it'll accommodate your PA school schedule. It's a real job, Maya, not charity, not a favor. You'd be working for the foundation, not for me. She studied him. What's the salary? He told her. Her knees nearly buckled. That's insane. It's market rate for a director position, actually. I had it independently verified. Of course you did. But she was smiling. Yes. Yes. Yes, I'll run your program. Yes, I'll go to PA school. Yes, I'll let you prove that your world can be safe for someone like me. She rose on her toes, kissing him softly. And yes, Adrian Ashford, I'll be your partner, equal and honest and real. His smile was blinding. Equal and honest and real, he echoed. I can work with that. 3 months later, Maya stood in Adrian's penthouse, her first time in his actual home, and tried not to feel overwhelmed. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the city. The kitchen was something from a magazine. The art alone probably cost more than she'd make in 10 years, even with her new salary. You hate it, Adrian said from behind her. I don't hate it. It's just very you. The old you. Yeah. He moved to stand beside her, looking out at the view. I've been thinking about selling it, getting something smaller, more real. Don't sell your home because of me. I'm not. I'm selling it because it's not a home. It's a monument to success I no longer want. He turned to her. I want something we build together. Eventually, if you want that. Her heart squeezed. I want that. Good. But first, he pulled a small box from his pocket, and Maya's breath caught. Before you panic, this isn't a ring. Open it. Inside was a key. To what? This place, until we find our place. I want you to feel like you belong here, in my life, without pretense or performance. So here's a key. Use it. Don't use it. Whatever feels right. But know you're always welcome. Always wanted. Maya took the key, its weight significant. I have something for you, too. She handed him an envelope. Inside, a deed amendment. You added my name to your apartment? Adrian's voice cracked. It's not much. 300 square feet of barely organized chaos. But it's mine. And I want you to know you belong there. In my real life. In the messy parts. She smiled. Equal partnership, remember? Maya, I know your key is probably worth more. He kissed her, deep and thorough and full of promise. When they broke apart, his eyes were suspiciously bright. "Your key is worth everything," he said roughly, "because it means you trust me. Really trust me." "I do." She tugged him toward the bedroom, heart pounding. "And I think it's time we stopped stopping." His pupils dilated. "You're sure?" "I've been sure since the supply room. I just needed to know you were sure about me. About us." She backed into the bedroom, pulling him with her. "Are you sure, Adrian?" "I've never been more sure of anything." The bedroom was as minimalist as the rest of the apartment, but Maya barely noticed. She was too focused on Adrian, on the way he looked at her like she was precious and powerful all at once. "I love you," she said, and reached for his shirt. His answering smile was soft and a little stunned, like he still couldn't believe he got to hear those words from her. "I love you too," he whispered, "more than I ever knew I could." He kissed her then. No hesitation, no performance, just slow, certain devotion. The kind of kiss that felt like a promise. "I'm here. I'm staying. I choose you." Clothes became an afterthought, scattered somewhere between the living room and the bedroom. But nothing about the moment felt rushed or careless. Every touch was a question and an answer. Every breath was a chance to make sure they were still on the same page. When the door to the bedroom clicked softly shut behind them, it felt less like an ending and more like a beginning. For the first time, they weren't dancing around what might be. They were stepping fully into what already was. Later, wrapped in warm sheets and in each other, Maya lay with her head on Adrian's chest, listening to the steady beat of his heart. The city hummed outside the windows, but in here, there was only the quiet of two people who had finally stopped running. From themselves, from each other, from the truth. "That was..." Maya started, then laughed softly, suddenly shy. Adrian brushed a thumb over her cheek, eyes tender. "Everything," he finished. "You're everything." She traced a small circle over his ribs, letting the reality of it all settle into her bones. Not just the physical closeness, but the trust it represented. The choice they'd both made to be all in, honest, imperfect, real. She turned in his arms, studying his face in the dim light. "So what now?" "Now?" He kissed her forehead. "Now we build a life. Together. Equal partners, remember?" "Equal partners," she agreed. "You and me against the world. Or with the world. Fighting for dignity and making sure no one else has to choose between love and survival." Maya smiled, feeling it settle into her bones. The certainty that this was real. That they were real. "I like that plan." "Good. Because I have about 50 other plans involving you. PA school, expanding the advocacy program, maybe getting a dog." She kissed him quiet. "One plan at a time, billionaire." "Whatever you say, future PA." They fell asleep like that, wrapped around each other, two incomplete people who'd found their way to wholeness. 2 years later, Maya adjusted her white coat, still surreal after 2 months, and headed into the advocacy office. The space had tripled in size, now occupying an entire wing of the expanded rehabilitation center. "Dr. Torres?" Mrs. Patterson called. "Well, almost doctor." "Physician assistant," Maya corrected with a smile. "But I'll take the enthusiasm." Her office was organized chaos. Patient files, advocacy cases, and framed photos. Her favorite, her and Lucia at graduation, both in their respective caps and gowns. Her sister had finished undergrad early and was starting her neuroscience PhD. Maya had finished her PA program at the top of her class. And in the corner of her desk, a small velvet box she'd been carrying for 3 days. "Ready?" Adrian appeared in the doorway, devastatingly handsome in rolled shirt sleeves. He'd taken to working from the foundation office here 2 days a week, claiming he liked being where the real work happened. For what? The dedication. They're ready for us. Right. Today they were unveiling the new patient wing, funded by the advocacy program's success. 3 floors of dignity-focused care, designed by staff input and patient feedback. They walked together through halls where Maya had once counted diapers and feared for her job. Now she ran a program that was being replicated in 12 cities. Adrian had stepped back from his tech companies, focusing entirely on the foundation and what he called meaningful building. In the new wing's common room, Richard sat in the front row. He'd graduated from wheelchair to cane, his speech nearly fully recovered. Beside him, Lucia chatted animatedly, probably about neuroscience. "Your dad looks good," Maya murmured. "He's happy. We both are." Adrian squeezed her hand. "You ready for this?" She thought about the girl she'd been 2 years ago, exhausted, broke, fighting for dignity with nothing but stubbornness. And the woman she was now, still fighting, but with resources and partnership and hope. "I'm ready." The dedication was simple. They spoke about dignity, about patient-centered care, about the importance of seeing people rather than conditions. Maya told the story of a nurse who'd once defended an elderly man's humanity and found her own life transformed in the process. When it was over, when the applause faded and the crowd dispersed, Adrian pulled her aside. "I have something for you," they said simultaneously, then laughed. "You first," Maya said. "No, you, I insist." She took a breath and pulled out the velvet box. "This is crazy. We should probably discuss it first. Make a plan. Be logical about timing and—" "Maya." She opened the box. Inside, a simple platinum band. "I know you have the resources to buy your own ring," she said quickly. "And I know this is supposed to be the guy's job, but we're equal partners. So I figured, Adrian, will you marry me?" His laugh was bright with tears. "That's not fair. I was going to ask you." "So ask." He pulled out his own velvet box. Inside, a ring with a single diamond, elegant and understated. "Maya Torres, you've made me believe in partnership and purpose and the kind of love that makes you braver instead of smaller. Will you marry me?" "Yes. Obviously, yes." She slid her ring onto his finger. "But you have to say yes to mine, too." "Obviously, yes." He slid his ring onto her finger, and they stood there, both wearing engagement rings, both grinning like idiots. "We're ridiculous. We're perfect." She kissed him. "Equal in everything, including the proposal." "I love you." "I love you too." They walked back into the common room, where Richard spotted their hands, let out a whoop that turned heads. Lucia squealed. Mrs. Chen started crying. And Maya, surrounded by the community she'd built and the man she loved and the future she'd fought for, felt something settle deep in her chest. Not rescue, not sacrifice, just partnership, dignity, love, the way it was always supposed to be. Later that night, in the apartment they now shared, a compromise between his penthouse and her studio, Maya stood at the window, watching the city lights. "What are you thinking?" Adrian asked, wrapping his arms around her from behind. "That 2 years ago, I was terrified of losing everything. And now I have more than I ever dreamed possible. We built it together. We did." She turned in his arms. "Thank you. For seeing me. For fighting for us. For changing your world instead of asking me to fit into it. Thank you for teaching me what strength actually looks like. For not letting me buy your forgiveness. For demanding I be better." She kissed him, soft and sure. "So what's next, partner?" "Next, we get married. We keep fighting for dignity. We build a life that matters. He smiled. We live happily ever after. That's a lot of plans. You love it. She did. She really did. Because this wasn't a fairy tale. It was better. It was real. Messy and complicated and earned. Two people who'd found each other in the middle of their separate battles and decided to fight together instead. Equal partners. Honest and true. The way love was always meant to be. Thank you for spending this time with me. I hope you enjoyed the journey. If you did, please subscribe and leave a comment. I love getting to know you better. And be on the lookout for our next story of strength, perseverance, and love. It should be on your feed very soon.